guys, my name is Megan and today I've got some beginner-friendly urban fantasy books for you. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about some books that I feel like are really good for people who are just trying to dive into urban fantasy books for the first time. These are across all different age ranges, and I actually feel like these can be read by pretty much anybody. Let's go ahead and just dive right in. So the first one that I have for you is the Mercy Thompson series. So this one I really love because we have Mercy, who is a coyote shapeshifter, and her next door neighbor is a werewolf who is the pack leader of the werewolves of the Tri-Cities, and there's all sorts of magical shenanigans that they get into. There's vampires and fae, and it's just a really great adventure series, and Mercy is honestly one of my favorite characters. Next up I have the October Day series. So this one is a fae kind of mystery private investigator series. It's really fun. So this one we follow October Day, who is kind of estranged from both the fae side of her family as well as the human side. She's just coming back after being magically transformed into a fish for about 10 years, 20 years. And she's also a private investigator, so she, investigates these fae related mysteries. So somebody goes missing, she's going after them, that kind of stuff. And it's really interesting because you get a whole bunch of different fae creatures, and politics are mixed in there, but also like all the different types of fae creatures. It's such a good book series, and October is one of the funniest characters that there is. She's very deadpan and a little bit sarcastic, and I love her and the found family that she builds throughout this whole series. It's so good. So the next book I have for you is The House in the Cerulean Sea. This is honestly one of the most heart-wrenching and best urban fantasy books out there. So this follows Linus Baker, who works for the department in charge of magical youth. He lives by himself with his cat in a very tiny little dreary house, and basically his entire life revolves around going to work. And then one day Linus is summoned by extremely upper management and gets this very classified case to go check on these kids at this little orphanage on this little tiny island. And these kids are some of the hardest cases that the organization has. And Linus is basically there to investigate Arthur, who is the person in charge of the orphanage. Linus starts maybe falling in love, and these children are just the sweetest. They may be some of the toughest cases, but they're also very adorable. And they kind of have this little cute found family, and it's just one of the loveliest books I've ever read. And it's very soft and sweet, and it's high adventure, high action kind of urban fantasy. This is a very soft and sweet and kind of a slowly building story, and it's just lovely. All right, next up I have Every Heart a Doorway. This is the first book in the Home for Wayward Children series. So this series is actually kind of a mix of urban fantasy and high fantasy. So there are these homes for children who come back from visiting other lands. So think like your Alice in Wonderland, the kids from Narnia, that kind of thing. They come back to the human world and don't know how to adjust or to go about their daily lives as, nothing magical is happening anymore. I really, really love this because, one, these books are super short and there's so much information packed into these tiny little novellas, but each novella is a fully contained story, and you get to see these characters develop quickly, but also you get to see how they interact with both our world as well as their own world and how they perceive things when they come back. And most of them are trying to find their doors again, and it's just really, really great series, especially this first one because it kicks off with a bang and it's really, really good. Okay, next up I have a graphic novel for you, which is Mooncakes. This one follows a hard of hearing witch and a trans non-binary werewolf, and I love them to pieces. It's about the story of these two who used to be friends, and one of them left, and they come back together in the most unexpected ways because something is hunting this werewolf. Their powers. The witch gets to help the werewolf, and they kind of start falling in love, and it's just very cute and sweet, and it's a really good jumping off point to dive into graphic novels or manga or comics that deal with magic in an urban setting. Also, we get hard of hearing or deaf representation as well as non-binary representation, and it's just lovely. And then the last book that I have for you is The Scapegracers. This one I have a full book review for, and I will leave it linked up above. This was one of my favorite books that I read in 2021. This one follows Sideways Pike, who is she is a witch, and she's just kind of out there learning how to be a witch by herself, but then all of a sudden she paid by the popular clique at school to do some magic tricks at their party, and then they kind of adopt her after things go a little bit wrong, and they kind of adopt her into their clique, and they are trying to get her a girlfriend, and it's very sweet. And then they all start learning this magic, and they kind of form this little coven, and then things go to hell in a handbasket. And it's such a good book, and it's one that I would highly recommend because you get so much adventure and magic and suspense, and it's very like a neon horror story gone wrong, and it's just very interesting, and I love it. Alright, so those are some of my favorite beginner-friendly urban fantasy books. Do you guys have any beginner-friendly ones that you'd like to recommend? Let me know down below. If you guys like this video, don't forget the like button. If you haven't already but would like to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, check out the links down below. Alrighty, bye guys!